Quest 3 is starting to move so fast that if you really wanted to, you could almost get all your accessories from one company. Different companies have been jumping on it, and AUBIKA has now released almost a full lineup between their new battery elite head strap, their case, the Cybercore, which we've actually been waiting on a very long time, and some upcoming grips we'll talk about that aren't quite out yet. 8,000 milliamp hours, 18 watts charging, elite style head strap, has the notch in the side so that you can pop this thing up off your face if you want to, but it does lock in at the bottom, so it still has the ability to stay solid and help pull some of that weight off your face through counterbalancing. But of all the elite straps I've tried so far, I've got to say right off the bat, the gear on this thing is the nicest one. It's almost like if you've ever felt the difference between like a crappy ratchet and like a snap-on ratchet where you just barely turn, it feels like there's all those little ball bearings. It's like that. It doesn't click, it doesn't make noise, and even the slightest movement brings it to the next stop in there. Like it's not like click, click, click. It's like, it's got a great gear on it. I'm gonna give it that right off the bat. Head strap has the tabs at the sides that I like to be able to unsnap it when you switch them out. Makes it a little easier, although most people aren't taking their strap on and off a lot. And of course, the little bit here where there's no Velcro on the tab also makes it a lot easier to put in, especially with the Quest 3 versus the Quest 2. I've noticed I freaking hate taking the facial interface off because of how hard it clicks and how much it scares me. I'm actually able to get this through here without ever removing the facial interface when I'm putting this on, which is a nice benefit. It's got one cable management spot over here to hold the cable in place. Cable's a little longer than it needs to be. I mean, even at full extension, you've got some extra cable, which I don't think anybody's gonna complain about that, but it does make it look a little less clean with all that cable hanging out. The battery issues we've talked about before on the Quest 3, we're getting straps now that have higher wattage charging, which is great. Although the crazy thing about this one is even with 8,000 milliamp hours, I'm getting about 2 hours so far. 2 to 4 hours is what they quote on this, so it is right, although I was at the bottom end, and that's mostly been in VR games. But even the more demanding ones like Red Matter 2 with the nice graphics and a little bit of mixed reality, I have been able to hold it right to 2 hours, but I haven't seen it go anywhere near 4 hours. 8,000 milliamps on the Quest 2 was like a long time. It felt like you're getting 4 or 5 hours on that. We definitely are gonna start to see more battery straps come in 10, maybe even 15,000 if they can pack all that weight on your head without it being awful. But this battery strap not only will hold the hours, it actually charges up the headset while it's doing it. If your headset's low on power, you'll see about a 20% increase. If it's above 50%, it only increases to about 10% during the whole time. And of course, if you're near 100 or 90, it's gonna maintain it, but it's not gonna necessarily give you that last few percentage. But with all that, it's actually working as a strap. So how about comfort? You know me, if you've been around a while, I usually prefer Halo straps, but I do recommend elite style straps like this one if you're into really active games, gorilla tag or fitness, because they do feel a lot more stable on your face, and this does it. It's got that nice thick cushy top pad, which we first saw in a Kiwi strap forever ago, and everybody learned that that is very good. It's very important for comfort. With the adjustability, you can adjust it up to where it really feels like the weight isn't really hanging on your face too bad, and it's really putting the weight on top. With those side straps, you can pretty easily pop it up and back down as you want to. The back is super flexible, so it feels good on the back of your head. And then between the hinges and the Quest 3's adjustability, you can get this way up here if you want it away from your ears or if you're having any problems with that. So this head strap itself is hitting everything I like to see. I've been really happy with it as far as elite goes, and I'm gonna hang on to it in case I do end up getting another Quest 3 and have one just for my fitness headset and one for my gaming headset like I used to do with the Quest. And this would actually even be better than the Bobo VR for me for really active games. So I really like this strap. $35 if you want just the elite strap with no battery, $80 if you want the battery edition. So it's not cheap at all, but it is sturdy. I like it, and it is 8,000 milliamp hours. Comes at a price, but they did give me a code. 10 JayBratt will save you another 10% off, bringing it to $80 even if you do get it through Amazon. Use the promo code that way. It's a better deal, and it's still not an unusual price we're seeing now with head straps. I know like even the Kiwi one was on a Black Friday sale. Normally $120, it was down to 80 bucks. The only qualms that I have with any regular battery strap like this, of course, it's not hot swappable. If you happen to leave this sitting and not realize the battery strap's dead and the headset's dead, you're not gonna be able to pick this up and just play it because you're not gonna be able to swap out the battery. You're gonna have to wait for this to charge. You're gonna have to wait for the headset to charge. That's an issue with pretty much all battery straps except the Bobo VR. If that's something that's acceptable to you, there will be a link in the description, the comments to check this strap out, because I have been really happy with this strap, and especially for the people who had a Quest 2 and found they liked the Kiwi Elite better than the Bobo VR, this is probably the Quest 3 strap for you. AUBIKA also dropped 2 different cases, hard shell cases, that are modeled after the little Quest 3 front beans. I've been calling them beans. I think like people have been calling them pills. And I think these are really cute cases. We went over a review of this in one of the big accessory review videos, so we'll kind of keep it brief here. I really like to look at this gray one, although it's like a suede material, which could get dirty pretty easily, but I love that the color matches it more. We pop this open, we got the instructions that tell you what's what and where it goes. It's got some bits in it that can actually be moved around. The bag that the controllers go, this front divider. Basically everything except this stretchy part can be moved and changed, and the stretchy part even has a little pocket in the middle that you can throw some stuff in. So let's say maybe you didn't want all this random crap, you could throw it in there. Outside of that, it's a pretty universal and open case. It's not like other cases that have exact edges that hold this here, hold this here. It's opened up, but then that stretchy part does help hold the headset down nicely, especially if you're working with an Elite strap. Although I did find even the Bobo VR Halo head strap could fit in here as long as you didn't have the cat ears on top. The nice thing is that makes it a bit more universal for more headsets. This isn't only a Quest 3 headset case, although it seems like it'd be kind of odd to use it for anything else when it looks like a Quest 3. This baggie can have controllers, your link cable, whatever you want. You tighten it up and then you can put it under here and hook it in with the Velcro so it'll help keep it stable. It still moves around a bit, but the Velcro does ultimately hold it in place. This bit, I'm not really sure. Removable Velcro cushion. Yeah, it was kind of here to help hold this part down. So it's just kind of funny, but I like that it's modular and you can move it around. The case is also a decent price, $28 for the gray suede one right now, $35 for the black one, but it was on a Black Friday sale for $28. And then code 05JayBrattVR would save you another 5% if you like these. But ultimately, there's a whole sea of cases out there. There's not really a lot of deciding factors between as long as it's gonna hold the head strap you like and what. So that's where I thought that this having this unique look and made it clearly look like a Quest 3 was kind of cool. Although I would think about the fact that if people do recognize a Quest 3 and you were to take this case in public, this would probably make it look a little more attractive to steal because they have an idea what's inside of here. Something to think about. That brings us to the big boy, the Cybercore. This is the Cybercore, AKA the robot head or the alien. Kind of reminds me of Bender from Futurama, at least the silver one that we had.
Blackmail is such an ugly word. I prefer extortion. The X makes it sound cool.
So we've had a prototype since CES last year, so almost a year now, of the silver one. This black one was a final in the retail packaging, got all the final features in it. LED lights on the side, 3 brightness levels, long press to turn it on or off. And it's a decently long press. You might get this and be like, and not figure out why it's not turning on. It's about 2 seconds, you gotta hold it. It's got multiple USB-C ports all over it, including on the inside, 120 watts of total charging power. All of that at a price of $200. That's a lot. Yes, it's got enough spots to charge your phone, your controllers, your VR headset, your Switch, whatever you want. You could be charging everything. This could be like a home base station that just has everything USB-C you have plugged in and charging all times, but it's still $200, which is a lot of money.
Damn, son.
You can get a Quest 2 for $200 right now. Something that it does advertise is this is future-proof because of that 120 watts adaptive charging. Even the Vision Pro, somehow it claims that it can be up to 45 watts charging into that. Maybe they know some specs on the Vision Pro we don't know yet. But there's a whole graph here that shows how if you're using a Quest, it's gonna be doing 10 watts of charging. If you're using a Pico, be doing 20 watts and up from there. So let's play around with the charging a little bit. I've got this Tukey USB-C charging cable that measures up to 100 watts, supposedly. Keep in mind, this is off Amazon. This is not the most foolproof, perfect of testing out there. Hopefully one day we'll have that kind of capacity. For now, I brought my Pixel over that's almost dead because I know that it can handle some pretty fast charging. Charging rapidly, full in 1 hour and 45 minutes. We're up to 23. It looks like we're gonna hold steady there. Now with the multiple USB-C ports, there's different levels of charging per USB-C port. So it might be smart to keep the original guide until you figure that out or memorize it. So right now I've got it charged into the 45 watt max spot. So this 45 watts max, the side that has the 2, the front and backs, those are 65 watts. Quest 3 while running, although we found before the Quest 3 seemed to take more power when it wasn't running. So let's, yep, the second I took my thumb off there. So we see it getting up to 23 if the headset's running, but I'm not covering the proximity sensor. interesting. And then on the inside, the USB port there is the 10 watt. Now the idea is that your VR controllers, since there's usually never a good spot to put them, they're gonna live inside of this. AUBIKA has a set of grips they're designing, similar to their Quest 2 grips, that will be able to charge and even charge magnetically, that will fit these perfectly, replace the battery doors like these did and the batteries. Just for an idea, I was curious, are they gonna use, it looks like in the pictures, they're looking to use pretty much the same design. This one isn't gonna fit quite right in here because the battery doors aren't exactly the same as the Quest 2. I mean, even as it stands, the Quest 2, and you can't use that, but it's close. I feel like they're not gonna do a ton of reworking to make it happen. Obviously, as you can see here in the infrared though, this is covering those lights that either have to be clear here, or they're gonna have to design it in such a way that it doesn't cover those at all. They would live inside of the CyberCore with one of their AUBIKA cables, which they sent us here, that goes from a USB-C splitting off to 2 magnetic chargers. Now, sadly, you're probably not gonna be able to get this one right here. This is for the OGs who remember the JayBratt edition grips. There was only like 100 made and it sold out in like 2 days on Amazon. No confirmation yet if we're gonna get a JayBratt edition with these, but they are making at least the AUBIKA edition. So you plug this into the USB-C inside, snap this onto your controllers, and then hide the whole thing inside there like nothing was happening. And then after that, if you are someone who's using the AUBIKA strap here, you can use their braided AUBIKA cable really off any of these ports, because any of these are at least the 18 watts that you need. And then your headset can live on there as a fashion statement, although it is tripping the proximity sensor. So you have to make sure it's either off or at least tap the button so it doesn't just sit there and run the headset. And with that, it's definitely a conversation piece. It's a throne for your VR headset. It's something for people to see. I don't see spending 200 bucks on it though. Like, that's a lot of money. It's really cool. It's something I'd say if there's a sale, or maybe, who knows, if the Apple Vision Pro, if you're one of those people who can afford that and this thing really gets that 45 watt charging to fast charge that thing for you, I would say a $200 VR headset stand is worthy of holding a $3,500 headset on it. Most people would probably put it in a case. I don't know. That's what I'd love to know from you there. If you are gonna get an Apple Vision Pro, where the heck are you gonna keep it when it's that expensive? But I'm really excited about the grips. I like the head strap. The case is awesome looking. It's the one I'm using. And I'm very happy to have the CyberCore. I can't justify $200, but I think with the amount of work they've put into it, I see why the price lands there. I do hope we'll see some discounts on it, because I think that a lot of people out there are gonna want this. They think it's really cool looking. And everyone who's ever seen the silver one I had sitting on was always like, what is that? So people are excited about it, but it's not cheap. With all that going on from AUBIKA, let me know what you think in the comments. Have you found a set of grips you're currently enjoying? Are you excited to see if we're gonna see some Quest 3 AUBIKA grips? And if they want to make a JayBratt edition one again, should we do it? Would you want to set custom JayBratt ones? Let me know down below. I want to say thank you so much for coming out, being with me once again here, and I will see you in another reality.